When you go down the rabbit hole of doing gear review videos, it's no secret you get your hands on your fair share of gear. Some of it you're more enthusiastic about than others, but sometimes you get your hands on something that you really wanted. And today is one of those days. Today we're going to be talking about what's in here, and that's the Cybertake S2 Pro portable air conditioner and heater. That's right, it does both. First things first, before we dive too far into that, I have to give a shout out to my boy Teddy from Unwinding Roads. He did a review on this product, an excellent review, which you should check out. And I watched it and I said, I want that. So I got a hold of Teddy and I said, Teddy, can you put me in touch with Cybertake? And he did. So here we are. So thanks, Teddy. All right, let's get started. First things first, it all fits in this nice bag. They sent it along with it. Got their brand on it. It's got Moly panels on it, although they're not true Moly because you can't weave this stuff in there. But it does pretty much hold everything that it comes with. The main unit's in here, and we're gonna whip it out and take a look at it. All right, let's take a look at everything that was in there. Of course, we have the main unit, the S2 Pro, water drain hose, the power brick, your adapters for your air ducting, the remote control, and I have ducting around here somewhere. Ah, there it is, that's right. And there's the two ducts. Well, I guess I should probably hook it up, huh? And it plugs in right here. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do when you're holding a camera. There we go. And for this test, we're going to be powering off of my trusty Anker C1000 power station, which is charged to 100%. By default, it's in AC mode, which is the last thing I had it in. And we're going to put it to Eco mode, which greatly reduces its power consumption. And it's drawing 25 watts in that mode. That's not bad. All right, let's keep taking a look at it. The thing to point out about it is for a completely contained unit that is an air conditioner and a heater. It's not very big, it's not very heavy. It's not tiny, but it's about the size of a power station. And it's not very heavy. It's only about 25 pounds, so it doesn't have a lot of heft to it. And when you're packing everything into a Jeep JK, which is not the world's most spacious vehicle in the back, being able to save space is a pretty big deal. For this video, we're going to be powering it off of my trusty Anker C1000 power station, which is a 1056 watt-hour power station. And we'll have more than enough power to power this thing for the duration of this test. Power buttons are all self-explanatory. Power buttons here, you're just going to push it and hold it to power it on. Pairing it to the remote proved to be a little tricky for me. This is the remote. So the instructions that come with the app and the instructions that are in the instruction manual don't match as far as how to pair it. So I found that the instructions in the manual were the accurate ones. So the Eco button, you're going to push it and hold it for 6 seconds. And while continuing to hold it, press any button on the remote, and that is going to pair them. And that's going to allow you to control the unit. And the remote is pretty snazzy, even though it doesn't have a touch screen or anything like that. It's easy to read, and it's got a thermometer, and it also has humidity. So it's pretty snazzy, and I'm glad that it's included. I understand that it is an optional device, so definitely pick up the remote. There is a flock of crows flying around, and they're really unhappy about the fact that I'm out here filming. Anyway. So, yeah, your function here for the fan, timer function. Pretty handy if you're going to keep it stored away where you can't get to it at night. Probably want to set it. This is the function for the actual unit, going back and forth between fan, heater, AC, dehumidifier. So it's definitely multifunction. but we're going to be on AC. And there is your temperature control. I'm sorry, that's your mode function that goes between auto, max mode, and eco mode. My bad. So we're on Eco Plus mode right now, which doesn't use a whole lot of power. Looking at some of the other function to this, well, your drain holes are in the back. They both pretty much do the same thing. So when you want to plug your drain tube in, you're just going to pop one of these covers off, and then you're going to put the drain hose in there. It's pretty self-explanatory. All right, let's pop this splitter on real quick for the ducting. Snugly in place. Now we can put our ducting on there. All right. It's a fairly warm, late summer day. Got the tent popped and it's been sitting for a few minutes, so it should be nice and warm in there. So I'm gonna set the unit up there and get it all set up and ducted into the tent, and we're gonna see how well it cools it off. All right, I have it set up on the roof rack for now, and I'm gonna get in the tent and run the ducting in now. Before somebody takes this time to type a lengthy comment about how my setup is not practical, this is not how I'm gonna do things in the campsite. This is just how I'm setting everything up for the review. Calm down, give your keyboard a rest. In the campsite, we're gonna run with a completely different setup. All right, I'm up in the tent. It's warm up here. You know what? I should probably close all the windows just to make it even warmer. It's warm in here. I have it ducted in right there. According to our remote, what do we got here? It is 83 degrees in here. I don't know what that is in Celsius. I measure in freedom units. I'm gonna turn the thermostat down to 68 degrees, and I want to see how long it takes for it to get comfy in here, because as it is right now, it's a little warm. So we'll check back in a couple of minutes. All right, checking back in. It's been about 10 minutes, actually 12 minutes. It's been 12 minutes, and we're down to 75 degrees inside the tent. It's getting comfortable in here. It was a little uncomfortable when I first started filming. Another little thing I noticed about the remote, which there's no way this camera is going to pick up, but these buttons on it are actually glow in the dark. I was actually able to spot it in the dark by the buttons glowing, so that was kind of cool. That wasn't too shabby. About 12 minutes to bring it down from about 83 to 75 with the sun shining directly on the tent. And that's an important detail because my tent has a solid black shell, and it gets really hot. So this thing is basically radiating heat right now, and the AC is still bringing it down into a comfortable range. I think that's a bit unrealistic of an expectation because I'm not going to be up here trying to sleep in the middle of the day with the sun beating down on the tent, but it's impressive that it can do that. And it was still cooling it off. I just decided at that point it was comfortable enough to go back on camera. So it'll definitely cool the tent off. And that was on eco mode, by the way. That wasn't on max mode. If I put it on max mode, I have no doubt it probably would have been down closer to 70 degrees by the time I stopped. So far so good. I'm impressed with it. Let's take another closer look at the unit. Okay, so the AC function works great. And again, this is not going to be my campsite setup. We're actually going to run a splitter to go over to Andy's tent also on his truck so that we can actually cool or heat both of the tents at the same time. We just have to go to Home Depot and do a little shopping. But our intention is actually going to be to store that down on a table underneath an awning in case there's any precipitation. Now it does have a waterproof rating. I should probably mention that, of IPX4, I believe it is. So it'll be okay if it gets rained on. Don't submerge it, obviously. It's not going to work underwater, but it should be fine getting some rain on it. Regardless, we're going to try to keep it covered when we're in our campsite. So this is going to be kind of a different review because I've only tested one feature of it, and I can't really test the heater function when it's almost 90 degrees outside. So we are going to call it a day for now, and Cybertake has been kind enough to allow me to hold on to the unit for a couple of months before finishing the review. It's now September and it's still kind of warm outside. We're gonna probably hold off for another month to 6 weeks. It starts getting cool, or like right at the tail end of summer in Virginia. And we're gonna pick this up in a few weeks and we're gonna test the heater function. So I'll see you guys in about 6 weeks. We're back out here at the faux campsite, aka our driveway. Got the tent popped on the Defiant again, which, by the way, is now 392 Hemi powered. Just had to brag about that for a second because, yeah, pretty excited about that. Anyway, we're going to test the heater function out. Got the tent popped and got Mr. Cybertake sitting back up there on the roof rack. We've tested it out in the campsite actually, and it worked out very well. Just don't have the campsite set up here because it's actually in the drawer system on Andy's truck over there, and we don't feel like taking it all out. Just popped it up there, ran the ducting back in the tent, and we're going to try out the heater function. It's late October, and unfortunately I picked a fairly mild day to do this on. It's a little chilly out here, but not bad. But I waited until a little later in the day so the temperature will fall a little bit. It's probably about 58 degrees Fahrenheit out here right now. But we are gonna test out the heater function and see how well it works. Before we hop back up in the tent and we check out the heater function, first things first, Cybertake wanted me to make sure I conveyed to you that this is not going to take the place of a dedicated diesel heater. It's meant for chilly nights. It gets down into the 50s, 40s, maybe even 30s. Keep your tent warm then. It's not going to keep you warm if you're out in the 20s, the teens, and you're in Arctic conditions. It just doesn't produce that much heat. It's a 6100 BTU, and it is pulling your outside air and heating it with an electric element. It's limited in how much it can heat. If you're in those conditions, you probably should still have a diesel heater. I personally am not wild about the idea of carrying diesel with me, and I don't camp in conditions when it is just frigid. Call me soft, but when it starts dipping into the 30s, camping season's pretty much over for me. But if you are camping in 50, 40, even mid 30s, this is probably going to do the job for you. But we're going to hop in there and check it out. Unfortunately, I did kind of pick an unusually mild day to do this. It's late October, and it's really not that cold out here. It's in the upper 50s right now. I did try to wait until later in the day so that the temperature will fall, but it should still be sufficiently chilly out here. All right, it's 58 degrees in here, according to the remote. It's a little chilly for me to sleep in, a little bit uncomfortable for me if I was trying to sleep. I have it on eco mode, and I've turned the temperature up to 90 degrees, which is the maximum. So I'm gonna zip everything up, and we're gonna see how long it takes it to get it up to, oh, let's say about 68 maybe, because that's I like it about 68 degrees when I sleep. So I'll check back up with you guys in a few minutes. Okay, so I decided to work smarter, not harder, and use the sunroof feature here so I can still have a little light to film in here. So first thing I can tell you is I have the thermostat set to 90, which is the max temp that it'll do in heater mode. The air coming out is definitely warm, but it's not hot. So that would reinforce what I said earlier, and what Cybertake says is that it's not going to take the place of a diesel heater in an environment when you need a diesel heater. That being said, it is warming up in here. It hasn't yet reached 68. It's at 64. It's only been about 6 minutes though. I came back on camera a little early just because I wanted to talk about the temperature coming out. And again, it is warm, don't get me wrong. It's definitely warm, but it's not like the hot air that comes out of a diesel heater. Comparing the two, that's not a fair comparison. But I'm going to cut this back off. I'm going to wait a few more minutes, and we're going to see how long it takes to get to 68 degrees. Okay, so I actually got a phone call while I was off camera and had to go inside and take care of something for about 15 minutes. And I came back out, and it's warm in here, let me tell you. So it's actually 77.4 degrees in here right now. So it's actually a mite bit warmer than I like it when I sleep. So I'm going to unzip everything and start airing it out. So I wanted to see if it would reach 68 in about 10 minutes, which I have no doubt that it did. But giving it a bit longer than that unplanned, it is almost 80 degrees in here. So it will definitely heat the tent up. And again, it's only about 50, maybe at this point, 56 degrees outside. So it's not frigid outside, to be fair. but it will definitely heat it up. And now that it's been running in heater mode for a while, the air coming out of it is very warm. Again, not hot, but very warm. But it's definitely doing its job. Okay, so let's talk about the amount of noise that the unit makes. Well, it's running on max right now in heater mode, and it's not making a lot of noise. You know what, let me take my microphone off, and I'll just put the mic next to it. That was with the microphone right up to it. And obviously it's not going to be that loud because I was holding the microphone up to it. I still have it running even though I've pulled it down from the tent, because I'm under my awning here. It's starting to cool off, and so I've got it blowing a little warm air here while I finish this up. So another thing to discuss on it is the power usage. You guys only see the final product, the edited product, which is, you know, this video might end up being 15 minutes long. What you don't see is how long it takes to film the video. And the power station's been running for, been powering the thing rather, for, I don't know, the better part of the last 3 hours that I've been out here filming this part of the video. And it's at 80, just hit 83%. And that's a 1056 watt hour station. This is not the power station I use to power things like this when we're out on a campsite. I have a couple of 2 kilowatt stations, and that's what I use to power things like this. And even though that one's only 1056 watt hours, it's powered it for the last 3 hours and only gone down 17%. A 2 kilowatt station is going to keep this thing running literally for days. And that's assuming that I run it constantly, which I'm not going to, and assuming I don't recharge the power station, which obviously I'm probably going to. So power consumption on this thing, at least in eco mode, is not bad. And it's still running in heater mode right now in eco, and it's drawing 37.2 watts or watt hours. And that power station will continue to power it constantly for another 2.5 hours. And I'm not going to be out here that long because we're just about done. But again, in the field, I'm going to be using a 2 kilowatt station, and that's going to keep this thing running literally for days. And I would definitely say that that's probably one of the best features of this station, aside from the fact how well it works, is the relatively low power consumption. It just does not use that much power. Okay, what do I think of it? Well, in a nutshell, I think it's awesome. I really like it. In fact, I still have it running in heater mode right now to warm my back so I don't have to put a hoodie on because it's actually starting to get kind of chilly out here right now. No, the thing, it does the job that it's claimed to do, and it does that job very well. The heater function is, I think, better than Cybertake gives their own product credit for. That's just my opinion. But the AC mode, it works. It's a great air conditioner. It's going to cool your tent off. It blows nice cold air. You probably won't ever even need max mode on it, but if you do, it's going to keep it chilly. Heater mode, again, they claim it's not going to take the place of a diesel heater, and I doubt that it will if you're camping in the teens or in the 20s, but like I said, I think the heater mode works better than they give their own product credit for. So would I recommend the product? Yes, absolutely. I've used it in the field already. It did the job very well, and I'm going to use it again in some pretty chilly conditions very soon. And I have no doubt that it's going to perform well in that, but I'll gladly report back and let you guys know. So if you've gotten something out of the video, please like the video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and head over and check out my boy Teddy at Unwinding Roads, because like I said at the beginning of the video, I wouldn't even know about the product if it hadn't been for his review of it, and he put me in contact with Cybertake and got the ball rolling on this. So thanks a lot, Teddy. Good looking out. And thanks to Cybertake for sending it to me and wanting to work with me on this project. Product is great. Check it out. It's awesome. And until next time, this has been Defiant Off-Road.